Do you want to take your setup from looking like this to this? With just a few simple RGB lights, you can completely change the way your space looks and feels. In this video, I'll show you how I've set up different types of RGB lighting in both my gaming room and my living room, what I use in each space, and how you can install and set up your own lighting to get your perfect look. Whether it's strip lights, light bars, smart bulbs, and everything in between, I'll break down where I placed each item and how you can do the same. If you find this helpful, drop a like and let me know in the comments if you're considering setting up some LED lighting, and as always you'll find each item linked in the description below. So my gaming room is where I've put the most thought into lighting because it's where I spend a lot of my time both gaming and working. I wanted it to feel immersive but also practical at the same time, so everything here is set up for gaming or working, watching movies, or just hanging out. When it comes to RGB lighting, there are a few well-known brands that most people tend to go for. Brands like Govee, LIFX and Philips Hue are some of the most common choices and each have their own strengths. Govee is a great option for affordability and variety, while LIFX is known for its strong color accuracy and brightness, and Philips Hue is a perfect choice for those deep into the smart home ecosystem. Then there's brands like Nanoleaf, which focus more on unique wall-mounted designs, and depending on what you want from your setup, each brand has something to offer. Like most people, I started out with LED strip lights since they're the most common and an affordable entry point into RGB lighting. So I've got two sets of Govee LED strip lights, one which runs along the back of my desk and the other is behind my IKEA Kallax cubby. These work perfectly for ambient lighting in the room and are great for setting up different color presets depending on what I'm doing. All LED strip lights come pre-applied with adhesive tape, so clean down the surface you want to attach the light to and then peel off the tape cover slowly as you affix the strip down, being careful not to overbend on turns. Once that's all done, set up your respective app and check out all the features your new lights have, such as these cool presets. For something more compact, I use Govee light bars and I've got two sets placed around the room. One sits behind my TV, giving me bias lighting when I'm gaming or watching something, and the other is on my IKEA lag shelf to add some ambient lighting. These don't sync with my monitor, but they do have built-in mics that react to sound, which works well when I'm listening to music. Sometimes I'll use the reactive mode, but most of the time I just keep them on a solid color or a slow fade effect, depending on the vibe I'm going for. And in the lamp to the side of the room, I use a LIFX RGB light globe. This acts as my main room light when I don't want to turn everything else on. LIFX bulbs are known for their strong color accuracy and brightness, and I use this one to either complement my setup or as a softer standalone light source. For a relaxed vibe, I'll dim it down to a warm white or a subtle deep purple or even a soft green. And if I'm gaming, I usually match it to an accent color that I've got running across my other lights. I'll control everything through their respective apps. So with the Govee lights, I'll run through and control everything through the Govee app, and the LIFX bulb I control all through the LIFX app. One thing to consider when setting up your own lighting is that not all RGB products work with Google or Alexa. So if you're aiming for a fully integrated lighting setup, make sure that the lights you get are Wi-Fi enabled and they're compatible with your existing system. Now both Govee and LIFX offer great options that work with voice commands. Hey Google, turn off all my lights. But not every model does, so it's worth checking this out before you buy. As for colors, I tend to change things up depending on what I'm doing. If I'm watching a movie, I usually go for warmer colors like orange and purple and the brightness turned down. And if I'm gaming, I prefer to have a bright white base with an accent color. Now this could be blue, it could be green, it could be purple, it could be orange. It just depends on the game and my overall mood. And I've also set up presets so I can switch between my favorites quickly without needing to manually adjust everything each time. So moving on to my living room setup, it is a lot simpler as I didn't want it to feel overdone. So here I've just kept to two sources of RGB lighting. I've got another set of Govee light bars and a corner lamp with another LIFX RGB globe. The light bars are positioned behind the TV and I've got them standing upright to help create a subtle backlight. And I do like tweaking the colors based on what I'm watching. So for example, if I'm watching Harry Potter, I'll set it to a warm golden hue with deep red accents, and for something that's futuristic like Ready Player One, I'll go for a mix of neon blues and purples to match that vibe. As far as setup goes, it's pretty straightforward with the light bars. Once you've unboxed everything and you've picked where and how you want to set up, just use the matching mounting brackets, connect the lights up to the control pad, and go through the steps in the Govee Smart app to set up your new lights. Once you're in the app, be sure to browse through all the cool features and have a look through all the different scenes and settings you can set up to make sure you get the vibe that's right for you. And as far as the RGB light globe goes, you pretty much just install it like any other light globe into a lamp, switch the lamp on, then head into the LIFX app to add your device, and again check out all the cool features that will be available to you with that product. So for example, with this LIFX globe, I can set the level of brightness, I can choose the different degree of whites, and there's many different scenes and color options that you can use. When I first got into RGB lighting, I did what most people do. I went straight to Amazon and grabbed the cheapest LED strips that I could find, thinking they'd all work the same because I just wanted to pick one or two single colors. Turns out that wasn't the case. The biggest issue I ran into was mismatched color reproduction. The same product had slight differences between strips. After dealing with that, I decided that if I was going to keep expanding my setup, it was worth investing in reputable brands instead of just grabbing random no-frills products off Amazon. That's when I switched to Govee and LIFX, and I haven't looked back since. Both brands have worked well for me, and while Govee's app has tons of customization options, I did run into a small software issue at one point, but to their credit, their customer support fixed it quickly, and I've personally had no problems since. If you're setting up your lighting, I'd recommend going with a brand like Govee. It's affordable, has a ton of customization options, and you won't run into the same issues as those no-name Amazon lights. I also managed to pick up this LIFX bulb on a great sale, and it's been a solid addition to my setup. And hey, if you ever want to take things further, Philips Hue is a great option for anyone looking to fully integrate their lighting into a smart home system. If you're working on your own lighting setup, one thing I'd recommend is taking your time to experiment. Don't rush to buy everything at once. Try out different placements, try out different colors, and even different settings to find what actually works for you and your space. RGB lighting can completely change the way your space looks and feels without needing a massive overhaul. Whether you want full-on immersion for gaming or just something subtle to enhance the mood, it's all about finding what works for you. Let me know in the comments if you're considering adding RGB to your setup, or if you already have what your favorite style of lighting is. And if you found this helpful, drop a like and subscribe for more tech and setup content. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you on the next episode.